Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Special Edition here on Thursday, October 29, 2020. It's the last Thursday of October 2020, which means 2020 is hopefully finally dragging its miserable self to a close. This is the Pro Wrestling Report. We are live on Fight TV. That's F-I-T-E, Fight, and across our social media channels. I'm Damian Nelson, coming to you here from the PWR studios, and I am honored, privileged, to be joined by two tremendous human beings, the first of which less tremendous than the other. He is the man you have to endure each and every week here on this broadcast. He is the one, the only, David Octavius of Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight edge, hardcore Hall of Famer hero. And also joining us again as a special guest this week is the always tremendous, the superstar, the leader of OVW, Al Snow. Boys, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report. Welcome to the end of October. Welcome to the Halloween Eve edition of the show. How the hell are y'all doing? That's a jump ball. Just talk.
It's Halloween Eve and there's no costumes?
Well, there are. Yeah, earlier, Damien came dressed as a crab, remember, right before we went on the air?
Blue crab? Red crab?
I don't know what crab it was, but boy, I felt attacked. I'm just telling you. I just felt attacked.
You know, Al, you look really comfortable there.
Well, I am.
Okay?
I am. I'm required.
So, okay, I'll let you explain.
I had double knee replacement surgery, bilateral knee replacement surgery last Monday. I am required to keep my knees up, so I am sitting in this beautiful 1970s recliner that we bought because we thought it looked cool, and I have been stationed here ever since.
That's fantastic.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Double knee replacement surgery. That's a man's job.
It's been a bit of a challenge, yes, but thanks to my son Evan and my wife Jessica and the wonderful Cal Hero, who's been on loan from Dave Hero to help me out. It's made things a lot more possible. I get to now walk around. You can be a little jealous. I get to now walk around with a very stylish cane, Damien. So
that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. the big brown machine.
Yep, or Kane's fried chicken.
Different spelling there, Al. Al, great to see you. Great recovery. And of course, I mean, gosh, double knee replacement. How long are you going to be laid up?
Oh, well, I'm not really totally laid up, but it's going to take probably 6 to 10 weeks, they say, for full recovery. So
that's amazing. Do you have a bell, like a little bell to ring, so Jess and Evan and Cal can come and take care of your needs?
That's a fantastic idea. I haven't even thought of that. I must have been too drugged up from the pain meds to realize, hey, I could use a bell.
I got it from the Golden Girl. Sophia was sick. She was faking it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Stan had pretended she was in a car accident. Stan said that, her neck was hurting so she could sue, and then she got a little bell. Dorothy got pissed, comes in, takes the bell, puts it on the kitchen table, takes a hammer, and destroys it. So be careful with how many times you ring it because it may cause some challenges.
Well, I don't want to ring your bell. You were already upset with us before we went on the air. So
I want to make one thing very clear. All right, you want to know what's going on? So I am okay. So,
what?
Since we're going to talk about anything but wrestling, so I have decided that I am going to switch mobile phone carriers. So I have, for the last 2 days, placed 2 orders online for a new mobile phone, switching to a new carrier. I'm not going to.
What's that got to do with you yelling at us before we went on the air and used curse words that adults should not use?
I believe I just referred to both of you as female dogs. That's not a curse word.
You can hurt people with your words, Damien. That's just we live in a society today. We live in a society today where it used to be sticks and stones would break your bones, where words would never hurt you. But now we know words do hurt, and you hurt us. What do you think, Dave?
I'm still trying to recover. I mean, my heart's broken.
You look like a sheet. You're as white as a sheet. I mean,
I know.
So I sat here for 10 minutes waiting for both of you to join until you decided to join approximately 60 seconds before we went live. That's somehow or another my fault that I don't get a little freaking irritated. At the
To be
same
fair,
time, I bust my ass for this show. I do all the work for this show, and you too just show up willy-nilly, half-assed, whenever you want. And it's okay for you because you're the guest. But Dave, you do it every week, and I'm tired of it. I say we do it live, and you can't even join us live.
well, you normally send me the link like 2 minutes before we go on the air, so I figured, well,
I sent
why
it
be there
13
early?
minutes before we went on the air.
I know, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I had to brush my teeth.
Al?
Yeah. Use your inside voice.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you,
My
David.
dog's been acting up today. It's been raining all day. We got the remnants of the 5th hurricane this year in New Jersey.
I know.
AT&T won't activate my phone. They keep canceling my order to protect me from fraud. I had an issue with tax authority today. I am. You know what?
Yeah.
2020,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters. 2020.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year. It really has.
But you know what, Al? It's been a great year for OVW. Why don't you tell us and share with us what has happened in the last 2 weeks since we last spoke to you about OVW, which I understand has even more clearances now around the world.
True, we do. As of this past week, we were we did a deal and partnership with Game Plus, which airs in the United States and Canada, and it's a network owned by Anthem Entertainment, which also owns Access TV, and more people would be more aware that they own Impact Wrestling. So we're on like a sister network now. OVW is now reaching even more homes nationally, thanks to this clearance. We're really excited to be a part of it, and we went on Sky Sports, the European sports
huge.
channel, as
That's
well
huge.
as too this past week. So, yeah, we just keep adding networks and adding clearances and expanding our audience. And I think we're close to 150 million homes in the United States, and then internationally with Sky and with Sports International. I think we come close to 700 million homes across the world.
The big question, Al, though, because we're over in Finland, is OVW on Finland as well?
Yes, through our own Roku channel, Amazon Fire, and Amazon Prime. I believe we are accessible in Finland, and I think, if I'm correct, I know that Sports International does air in Finland, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Sky does too. Sky Sports does as well.
Huge, of course, for OVW Wrestling. Live events also coming to us weekly, I believe, or on a regular basis now down in the Southeast.
Yeah, we are performing television, doing a live television broadcast on Tuesdays here regionally with our partner WBNA, and then we are looking to start streaming live with Amazon Fire and Amazon Prime and the Roku channel at the same simulcasting at the same time as we do it with WBNA, doing those shows live as well, so that people can see it anywhere they want live at the same time.
That is tremendous, and the success continues with OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. OVW, where the stars were born forever, where they continue to be born again, and where you spend your every waking moment building the future of professional wrestling, which not enough people appreciate right now, because the farm territories, if you will, the training grounds, if you will, that you're providing so greatly in OVW don't exist as much as they used to, and the future of the business depends on it.
It does, and we are continuing to, you say 2020 is such a horrible year, and I agree with you 100%, because, this past year we have lost so many of our fellow wrestlers, our brothers, that generation is going away, and we need these places to continue to pass on the skills and the things that are intrinsic about the art of professional wrestling to the young men and women, so that the actual real art of it doesn't die, doesn't go away. We just 2 days ago lost Tracy Smothers, and and before that, not much before that, we lost Joe Laurinaitis, Animal of the Road Warriors. So it's 2020 can't end soon enough as far as I'm concerned.
And I wanted to touch on that and get your insight as well, Dave. Tracy Smothers, a legend in the wrestling business, just, I believe, yesterday, if not today, I think it was yesterday, though, passing away. Tracy Smothers, clearly, obviously a legend, had been around for a very long time. And I would like to hear your thoughts collectively or individually on the passing of the most recent loss in the world of professional wrestling, that of Tracy Smothers, Dave.
You know, I never really worked with Tracy. He was more of a Southern Territory talent. Didn't make his way up to Milwaukee hardly at all, if ever, unless he was touring as the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys or when he was with WWE. But Al can speak more on it than I can. For everything that I've seen, everything that I've read, everything that I've heard, is that Tracy Smothers was one of the most beloved and kindest men in all of pro wrestling.
Oh, I agree 100%. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Al, but you look different now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I touched. I don't know what I did.
You become an orb of some sort.
I don't know how I get it back on either. That's what she said.
Cal or Evan can help you.
Yeah, just bear with me, but oh, sorry.
Subject, of course, but thank you for bringing some levity to it. So start telling us here.
There's a button that says camera, Al. Just click the camera button. I think that's
technical.
Yeah.
Get Cal or Evan in there. They can help you through it.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. I found it. God bless. Jeez. So I think a testament to the Tracy Smothers. I honestly, I don't think, with all the people that have passed away, I mean, really, and everybody, I mean, it's such a tragedy. I mean, these are people that were family to me. They really were. But honestly, I don't think that I've seen such an outpouring on social media to the degree that I have with like Tracy Smothers. It just seemed like one, person after another person were, posting and were, sending their condolences and in the regards of, Tracy's, departure. I mean, Tracy really had touched so many people and so many lives within and without professional wrestling. And, it's sad to see such a wonderful person like that go.
Indeed. And it's always tragic to lose, it's interesting. And, you guys are older and I'm catching up with you. And, it's fascinating. That's the fact.
Yeah. Way to go to throw that one in there. Yeah.
Real news. Hey, I didn't say how far. Al, you're 1 year older than me. Dave is 10 years older than you. So, I mean, it's all relative.
Well, I tell you, the clock's ticking on Dave.
But Jesus. But here's the thing. I do want to say this. I want to get be a bit sincere, I guess you could say it in this regard. Over the last 2 years, so many legends have passed, and so much of our childhood, if you will, has gone away. And Dave, I was telling you the other day in a private phone conversation that I was questioning how much
you got a message.
I did get a message. Thank you. I was questioning how much I even like wrestling anymore. And as I thought more about that, what I realized was there has just been so much loss in the last couple of years and loss of great people in the business. And, that time comes for everybody, right? But when they happen in succession and when you have a year like we've had, there should be something said about the personal/professional impact that some of these things can have on people. And I may be one of those people. I don't know. I've just been sort of turned off by professional wrestling as of late. But as I said that, and after I got off the phone with you, Dave, and talked to you about that, I realized, I think it was about Tuesday, I realized then that I was looking forward to watching AEW on Wednesday night, Dynamite.
Oh, I wonder why that is.
Well, because
could there be a certain someone that's a star on the show?
I mean, there was a lumberjack match between Orange Cassidy and Cody Rhodes.
Who Who doesn't love lumberjacks? I mean, they're big, they're husky, they're in flannel.
Well, Billy Gunn was the biggest guy there, but be that as it may.
True. Well, Billy's more like a tree than a lumberjack. So
yeah, well, Billy and Austin, they got a big match next week on Dynamite. They're going to be teaming up with Cody against Orange Cassidy and the Dark Order, I think it is.
No, it's Colt Cabana and the Dark Order.
Yeah. But
well, that's a huge opportunity for Austin to really, shine and show what he can do.
Yeah, it is.
So I hope he does. I hope he takes advantage of it.
I want to drift there for a minute, but what I do want to talk about with you, Dave, and bring your opinions and insights in as well, Al, is we're coming off the heels of a big weekend and a big week in professional wrestling, because this past weekend on Saturday night we had Impact Wrestling with their premier event of the year, Bound for Glory. New champions were crowned, stories were told. We're coming off the heels of WWE Hell in a Cell this past Sunday, where a brand new WWE, the Raw champion, I forget which one is which, was crowned, which was significant. And also coming off the heels of the return of Halloween Havoc just last night on NXT, where we saw more championship turmoil, if you will. And don't forget, a pretty explosive edition of Dynamite, where the card for Full Gear on November 7th was etched in stone. A big, massive week in professional wrestling. But I want to back up a little bit and go first back to Hell in a Cell. And Dave, I want to get your thoughts on the main event matchup, where we did see Drew McIntyre lose his championship to Randy Orton. Now, last week on a special edition of Primetime, both you and Shane Helms, Dave, said that it would be smartest, and you would book it, for Drew McIntyre to have gone over in that matchup, to have won that match, if you will. That was not the case. Randy Orton is the new champion. Dave, your initial thoughts, and then Al, I'm going to get your thoughts on WWE depending on Randy Orton over a Drew McIntyre at this stage in their careers. Dave, go ahead.
I was shocked but pleasantly surprised with the finish of that match. I thought it was creative, where Drew was patiently waiting with the big kick, and when it took that long, I figured an RKO was coming. But I just didn't lose the third match in the trilogy inside the Hell in a Cell. Usually that's the be-all, end-all of any major program or feud. And now, like, the Hell in a Cell was only a bump in the road, because once Randy Orton gets past or has his match with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in a champion versus champion, you know that Drew McIntyre is going to be waiting to get that rematch.
What, champion versus champion? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
Well, Survivor Series is going to be Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton.
I missed that.
SmackDown champ versus the Raw. Well, I'm sure you did, because you were trying to change your phone carriers.
I watched Raw in almost its entirety this past Monday night.
Oh, that's probably the part you missed.
Wow. Well, that is substantial.
Yeah, it is.
Substantial. I was not aware. But Al, I'd like to get your thoughts.
That's why I pay attention. Whoa. That's why I take care of the details.
Here we go.
YouTube is a great service provider. So, Al, Drew McIntyre loses his championship. Now, actually, I want to get your thoughts going back a bit further. WrestleMania. The WrestleMania in the warehouse, in the Performance Center. Not anyone's fault, but the situation in the world.
Sure, yeah.
Drew McIntyre's moment. Drew McIntyre wins the championship. He finally gets that moment. The chosen one is crowned, if you will.
Okay.
That, of course, is a night where you could say, well, it wasn't quite what it was going to be, or what anyone thought it was going to be, but be that as it may, all the way through SummerSlam and into October now, Drew McIntyre reigned as champion, defeated a lot of people, made dominant in the organization, and it took that third match in the Hell in a Cell with Randy Orton to lose the championship, and now he doesn't even get a chance at Survivor Series the next show. What do you think? What's your take on Drew McIntyre's run as champion, and the fact that Randy Orton has now become champion once again and goes into Survivor Series apparently in a marquee match with Roman Reigns?
Well, I think that in spite of all of the challenges, I think that Drew did well. And I think the title served its purpose, which was to elevate Drew, which is how you use the title. And I think that by putting the title on Randy Orton is experienced enough and now they have a guy who can understand enough how to use those matches to make his challengers and hopefully elevate more than just Drew McIntyre going forward.
It's interesting, Al, looking at this story, and Dave, it felt like you may not have agreed with the course by which this took, but the fact that it was the third match and the fact in the first match, Randy Orton sort of gave excuses or reasons or actually admitted to, he just didn't live up to the expectation, didn't meet the challenge. Second match, same thing. Orton loses. Drew gets stronger. And then in this third match, he loses. It almost protected Drew to a degree because it took Randy Orton that long to finally get the win over him.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it made Randy Orton more for overcoming the challenge and finally defeating Drew McIntyre.
And I think that's interesting, Al. I'd like to get your thoughts too, Dave. Does Randy Orton need that more? Because as I watched Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell and on Monday Night on Raw, the parts I saw, I said, man, there is not a bigger star in WWE right now than Randy Orton. And when I say right now, I'm excluding the Undertakers of the world. I'm excluding Brock Lesnar. I'm excluding Goldberg, whoever else it may be. But Randy Orton is the benchmark in the organization right now. Cena's gone. They don't get any better than Randy Orton in WWE right now. Dave, what do you think?
Randy Orton is the best talent on all three of their brands. He looks the part. He walks the part. He talks the part. He delivers. His psychology is second to none. Unbelievable. Do they need him to be the champion right now? I don't think so, but obviously that's the way they're going. I think having him as champion is more designed to get Roman Reigns over as being the baddest man in the company, but when Roman Reigns should defeat Randy Orton.
Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. What is beating Randy Orton at Survivor going to do?
It's different because it's a Roman Reigns now that doesn't care. That Roman Reigns now that is he's no longer the face of the company, the ultimate baby face, the guy they're trying to make the top baby face. Right now, he's just a badass ass kicker, and Randy Orton's a badass ass kicker, and I think it's designed to get Roman over more so than Randy. Randy could lose the next 6, 7, 8, 9 matches, pay-per-views, and it's not going to hurt his stock whatsoever because he's so established. But right now, I find he's going to be in a Roman Reigns Rock match at WrestleMania, so they have to get Roman ready for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to clarify, as this is an important time of the year and real news is important. That was a speculative comment that Dave just made about Randy Orton.
Whoa. I fact-checked all my stuff.
Cite your sources. You have no official source that indicates that will be the
my source.
That will be the main event of WrestleMania. It's my job to report. It's their job to decide. I'm just simply ensuring that the fans in the audience out there knows that is not fact. It is rumored. It is reported. But Al, I do want to ask you a question.
Yes.
It is
but
rare.
Hey, we're not doing anything different than any other wrestling media out there anyway. So let him do it.
Let's be careful, Al. We distinguished ourselves from other wrestling media by not doing said thing.
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry. I thought this was just the normal wrestling media.
No. That's why we've lasted for 25 years. Hey, so
where we create opinions based on rumors and supposition and calling wrestlers who, of course, have no personal agendas.
Or reading Meltzer's, whatever he posts weekly, which I've never subscribed to. But yeah. Al, I do want to ask, it's rare for people to get into that atmosphere where they can't be hurt by just about anything that's done to them. And Dave, I think that was the point you were saying about Randy Orton in his current state. Is there such a thing as a talent that can no longer be damaged in the wrestling business? And if so, how do you get to that point?
No, there is no talent that is in that position. Every talent has what I call a day in the sun. And that day, length of time varies. you know. But as the sun rises, or the way I put it is, the sun rises, you know, people are just starting to realize that talent. Think of like a Steve Austin, you know, and as the sun starts to climb and it hits high noon, there's nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing during that point in time that talent can do that could be wrong. Even if they did something wrong, the audience, the fans would defend it. They would actually, you know, ignore the mistakes if they had to, because they're at peak where the sun's burning the brightest. And
Al, if I may ask, are you talking within the business or both in and outside the business?
Well, both. Yeah, both.
Because that's an interesting point about Austin. Remember, he had the O.J. Simpson moment with Deborah, and that was basically no one reacted to it or cared about it when that happened. Yeah,
and then that carries on into the afternoon. In the afternoon, you know, you can. The difference with the afternoon, though, is that the sun is starting to recede a little bit. It's not as bright, and as a result, people are starting to take a little notice of the mistakes that you make, but they're choosing to ignore them. As we get into the evening and the sun starts to set, well, now that's where they start to take a little umbrage with the mistakes. They're disappointed because they feel like they're not getting what they paid to see. And then as the sun continues to set, you know, now those mistakes start to stand out. Those disappointments get larger, and the sun sets, and it's up to the talent then to recreate themselves, reinvent themselves, and have another run, have another day in the sun. And for some, they can't do it. Randy Orton's a prime example of a talent that is capable of being able to do that on many different levels and at many different times. And I think that WWE has managed him as a talent exceptionally well to prevent him from, you know, burning himself out, even though at some points in times I think they've relied on him way too heavily. And you know, they've run the risk of overexposing him and then thus killing the ability for us to continue to use him in the future.
It's an interesting perspective for sure. And, you know, it's also interesting that by his own admission, you know, Randy Orton's a prick. He has said that if you watch any of the WWE specials after he found himself, if you will, you know, he has admitted that he's a prick. And actually in the latest, I think it was Untold, between he and The Undertaker, going back to their series of matches in 04-05, Bruce Pritchard came on and said, you know, that no matter what Randy does, you can look at him, and whether he's a heel or a face, and especially when he's a heel, you can just tell that he is one of the most devilish, conniving, just pricklyish people on this planet. And he seemed to, at some point in his third strike, which has been for the last 10 years waiting in WWE, it seems that at some point he embraced that and owned that and realized that,
and should.
And that's exactly the point, is he became a better star because of it. And
the reason why is because it is who he is, and you can believe in who he is. And here's the thing: if you can believe in the performer and who they are, you'll believe in anything and everything they say and do.
And you know, it's amazing how much
that applies to politics too, Damien.
You know, we're too close, Al. I don't want to talk about that at all. I don't want to get there. I mean, we're talking to a very solid blue state right here, and two very solid reds. Actually, one very solid red state, that being you, Al, and one very purple. I'm not talking about
a color of any sort.
I'm talking about where you reside, and David, you're in a very purple state right now.
I got to tell you, I think that both politics and wrestling have become so arrogant in the fact that they can continue to do a work that they now just proudly trumpet to their respective audiences, and they think the audiences don't care.
So the door's been opened. Here's what I want to do. No, here's what I want to do. And this is giving a lot of credit that people don't think I have the capability of doing. And I will give a ton of credit to Donald Trump for being the best worker in the politics business.
I thought we were talking about Randy Orton.
No, you opened the door.
I didn't open the door. I did.
No,
I don't recall that.
but I do want both of you, more so you than Dave, Al, to explain just how perfect Donald Trump is as a worker, if you will, and a promo artist, and how he can manipulate an audience better than anyone we've ever seen in politics.
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, hold on now. Again, I'm not taking sides because I personally I don't care.
I think it's a factual thing worth covering because, as you talked about,
I agree.
There's a direct connection to wrestling and what he has accomplished.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's brilliant in as far as a public orator, as far as a speaker, knowing how to cut a promo, and the promos really knowing how to cut a promo is what puts the money in the seats. There's no question or doubt that he knows what buttons to push, what keywords to say, and what inflections and how to put in the tone of his voice and the delivery and the pacing. He's fantastic. He really is. He's great at what he does, and you can't knock him for it. He's been successful. But and on the same side, Joe Biden's an incredible worker as well. He's had a career in politics, something that I find abhorrent. That not him personally, but I just find it ridiculous that we don't have term limits, and that we don't have campaign finance reform still, and that we don't have something that limits the influence of lobbyists.
You're taking a turn. You're taking a turn.
No, I'm not. Because Biden's an incredible worker. He has been able to survive in a business that you have to do exactly that, and that is work people.
That is true.
You can't deny. And they're all corrupt. I mean, and I don't take sides because it's both wings of the same bird. And if you people actually don't think there's a power behind the throne, you're insane.
Al?
For generations, it's always been that way. Even back in old European, when they had oligarchies and stuff, there were still powers behind the throne.
Al?
Regardless of who the king was or the queen. Yes.
Al?
Yes.
I'm glad to hear you're a fan of Game of Thrones. I
am. And don't think it doesn't happen in real life. It does.
What I do here on this program, up against Tucker Carlson on Fox, what I do on this program is I ask questions because I truly want to know. Much like Howard Stern, which is the only radio guy.
Well, then I gave you answers. That I gave you information.
I forgot though, Al, that I know where your trigger is, and I pulled it by mistake.
What was my trigger? I just gave you information.
Yeah, well,
you didn't like the information, so now you're saying that I got triggered.
No. I have no problem about the information, but I wanted you to share with the wrestling fans and everybody watching why Donald Trump achieved what he achieved in 2016, and who knows, maybe he'll do it again in 2020. But there is a direct correlation with what we were talking about with Randy Orton and what we're talking about with wrestling in general.
I agree, and I agree.
Accomplished.
And I commended Joe Biden too, because he's been able to do it well enough to have a career at it. That's all. That's not a bad thing. That's the truth. I mean, to be able to get over and stay over with a constituency for that length of time in some manner, and and avoid the pitfalls and the traps. Good for him. Congratulations.
Are you and Mitch McConnell?
He's not a good. I think he's another career politician too.
I just asked, are you in his district?
Oh yeah.
Okay, very good. So
he's another career politician. I don't buy the career politician stuff. I don't agree with that at all. 100%.
Here's a question, and I do want to seriously pose this question because I thought about this, and there are so many reasons why I personally cannot do it. But Martin Duffin, watching us live on Twitter right now, asks, will there be an election night special next week? And I still want to go live on Tuesday night and do PWR election night coverage and give the three of our perspectives, because Shane will get pissed.
Shane will get hot. Shane will get hot. Shane will get hot.
The three of us watching the returns come in live and reacting to that. That is going to be entertainment enough.
It would be hilarious. Because I think this all is funny anyways. Listen, I accidentally ran for mayor of my hometown one time.
Accidentally?
Under my whole campaign was that I had more personality than the incumbent, because it pissed me off that he was running unopposed as mayor. And I was like, Gotta be kidding me. This guy's been in there for how many years already, and nobody's running against him. And I was like, he's got the personality of a dinette set. I mean, somebody's got to do better. So I literally went around town. This was when I was still with WWE. I didn't want the job. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in politics. Who wants that? Other than, well, you can make a lot of money. I mean, shoot. I guess I should have went into politics. I'd be a millionaire. But I told people I was a write-in candidate, and as a joke, I was like, well, write-in
on the radio,
candidate.
right?
And they're like, well,
you were on the radio.
On the radio and on television. A couple of radio times I did a couple of radio interviews, and I did a couple television appearances in my local hometown in Lime, Ohio, and when I still lived there, and then I started panicking because the night of the elections they started doing the returns, and they started on the local news started announcing that I was getting votes, and I was like, oh my God, no, I don't need this.
So you were like Trump in 2016.
I don't need to be the mayor. So
I in all seriousness, my dream before I got into the tremendous career I'm in now was to be a political reporter on one of the major networks. And it would be so brilliant and so great to cover election night live. Dave, I see you cringing. Whoa. What are you worried about? What would be wrong with it? None of us has aligned ourselves with a candidate yet on this broadcast this year. Now, if you look back,
not going to.
You'll see.
I don't like either one of them, but
I'm not asking either of you to. In fact, I don't want you to. It's too polarizing. I don't want anybody to tell.
Yeah, why? Why is it people take it so personally, and why? I mean, I don't understand. Like,
it's because
and a person can't have an opposing thought or opinion. I mean, calm down, Damien. I mean, don't be so much on the attack. I think personally that when people get like that they're so defensive is because they don't have such a really strong belief in their own opinions and thoughts. I mean, I don't know, Damien. You seem to get pretty worked up pretty quick. So, like earlier, when we showed up and said hi and he wouldn't answer and they yelled at us. So my feelings are still hurt on from that.
I've already voted for Ross Perot, so my vote's already in.
I actually did vote for Ross Perot back in the day. I did vote for him. I did.
My passion for politics is so election night is like my Super Bowl, my WrestleMania every year. I look forward to that more than every 4 years, rather. I look forward to that more than any of those two events.
Wow, and see, and all those events are at work, so it's great. You're still in your realm.
It is true. In fact, since we're getting real here, in 2016, when things become obvious as to what was going to happen and projections were about to be made, I turned off the coverage and I put in the movie Airplane. And I watched because I picked the wrong week to quit methamphetamine.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Riker, I don't even know her. That's what I did in 2016. Is I had to put some comedic value in and watch that. So
there was comedic value back in 2016. I mean, the whole thing was a farce.
So I do want to get your opinion, though, as we hop into pop culture here. And we're going to go to Meathead in a moment for a draft update. Has either of you on Amazon Prime gotten the opportunity to watch the second installment, the subsequent movie, if you will, of Borat?
I have
not yet, but I saw the footage with Rudolph Giuliani. What an idiot.
I tried to pivot.
Whoops, talk about a high spot, huh?
He is a disgusting human soul. Is Rudy Giuliani?
They're all just listen. Every one of them is. Every one of those people are disgusting, and every one of those people that are in power now believe that they are in power and that they no longer work for us, and we allow them to believe that, and that's our fault because they are public servants and they don't think they are.
Al.
Yeah. Okay. We should fire them all.
So we're going to go to Meathead with a draft update.
They've done a horrible job.
Dave's in tears. He's so uncomfortable. We're going to go to Meathead with a draft update.
We should clear the deck and elect you and elect Dave and myself. We should go up there.
Absolutely.
Give us a
I'll
chance
be
to
in
make a
charge
bunch
of
of money.
I'll be in charge of education.
I have no desire. I have no desire to be in public office because, as you said, Al, if you can't play within that corrupt system, you can't. And I can't do that.
You're right.
But I will.
You're right. And good people that go into that system become corrupt.
Yep.
You know, it's a shame.
That happened. It almost happened in 2008. Let's go to Meathead now with the draft update.
It happened in 2016. Look at what happened to Trump.
Dave, get ready to find out how much your ass is being whooped in the draft.
Hello again, I'm the man they call Meathead, and this is a PWR draft update. Now, after this weekend's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, we've got lots of movement in the leaderboard, and we have some controversy over what happened in the Otis and Miz matchup. Now, due to Otis losing the Money in the Bank briefcase and the Miz winning it, Linda has Miz, and she has been awarded, according to accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe, 75 points. Now, Damian Nelson, who has Otis, has lost 25 points due to the fact that, well, he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and now we will take that as a title loss. So minus 25 for Damian. Also, with the 2 title losses by yours truly, Dave Youre is closing in on first place, even though I still lead. Plus, Drew Dalla picking up Sasha Banks right before the pay-per-view, getting all the points that she earned for her title victory. Here are the current totals brought to you by that accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe. I still lead at 1,730. Dave Youre at 1,500 exactly. Damian Nelson in third place, as he always has been, 1,380. Drew Dalla, 1,135. And Linda Kay making a big move at 1,070. Now, don't forget to check out PWR Today every Monday through Friday with myself and everyone else from the PWR family. For the PWR draft, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
I'm at number 1 and number 3. I'm number 1 and number 3. I'm number 1 and number 3. The polls are showing that it will be a rout. It will be a landslide come the end of the PWR fantasy draft. I will win. I will win again, and it will be the biggest and baddest win you have ever seen. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. I promise you. I guarantee it. Just wait until WrestleMania.
I thought the Unabomber was in jail.
I'm sorry?
I thought the Unabomber was in jail. Who the hell was that guy?
Who's got a hood? Oh,
somebody that wrote a manifesto and is taking a crap in a coffee can out in the shed.
Yeah, Chet the Unabomber. Where'd you find that guy?
How long did you talk? No, how long did you
talk
house? Before the show tonight? How long did you two talk before we went live?
I didn't at all. Not at all. I was not at all. Not at all.
No,
I was putting my knees up. Not for fun things.
Hey, all I did is I made sure he had the material to discuss tonight's show, and the first,
which we haven't discussed. I watched all of the clips, and we have not discussed any of them. I'm so glad that I prepared for the show.
Okay, you want to peel back the curtain a little bit. Usually, Al, I'm respectful of the fact that you're a busy man running a wrestling organization, and you usually don't get a chance to watch all these shows. Typically, Dave will tell me, hey, Al didn't watch. We're going to talk about this. Or I showed Al this, and we could talk about this. Guess what? For the second time you've been on in the span of 3 weeks, he didn't do that. So, yes, the heat's on you, Dave. But now, Al, let's get granular in the situation. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite from last night. And let's talk about the amazing presence in the matchup between Orange Cassidy and Cody Rhodes, a lumberjack match. Orange Cassidy, Cody Rhodes, the story continues to be told, but the more important story is Cody Rhodes defends the TNT Championship against Darby Allin November 7th at Full Gear. But Orange Cassidy showed that he can compete in that matchup with Cody last week after 2 weeks ago, almost defeating him with only the time limit getting in the way.
Yeah, and it makes me, they're doing a good job, I guess, of, building Orange Cassidy. But I don't know. I mean, you've got to, in that match, and the finish was done well. I liked the finish, but during the body of the match, it didn't look like Orange Cassidy was fighting to climb a mountain that was Cody Rhodes. It looked like he was already on the same level as Cody Rhodes, especially toward the back end where they were exchanging the the big moves with which I know that's the new, thing to do, but they were exchanging the big moves and the big kickouts, but it kind of levels the playing field, and it keeps you as the audience from cheering on or hoping that Cassidy can climb that mountain of Cody Rhodes and eventually reach the peak and defeat him. Do you follow? Does that make sense to you?
No, it makes sense. It absolutely does. And I think that's because Orange Cassidy is coming into this with a win over Chris Jericho and with basically taking Cody to the limits last time they wrestled.
Yeah, and I know he had the win over Chris Jericho, but again, he's supposed to be the underdog. He's supposed to be the guy that we're going to root for. But if he's playing on a level playing field, it's kind of hard. I always give the analogy to the talent here in OVW that, think of your match like you're watching a foot race around a track. And if nobody ever truly gets fully ahead on the race, there's no reason to cheer on the guy who's trying to catch up and eventually, possibly, potentially might come to the finish and win, but just doesn't make it because of the interference from the other people that ran through. Do you understand?
No,
and that picture, when it's back and forth, and it's give and take. Well, it kind of takes that, okay, so Cody gets out in front, he starts running and he's faster. Well, then Orange Cassidy just catches up, and he's running equal to Cody Rhodes. And then, for whatever reason, he might slow down and Cody takes off again. And then Orange Cassidy just simply catches right back up. There's no challenge to it. There's no, oh my God, can he do it? Can he make it? Can he, and you're not on the edge of your seat rooting and hoping and pleading like, oh, geez, if he did win, it's when you do that exchange back and forth, it creates that one guy pulls ahead, then the next guy catches up and pulls ahead, then the next guy catches up and pulls ahead, and then the next guy, and then it loses that drama. It loses that heat. So
Dave,
just my 2 cents.
No, and that was a lot of those are heavy pennies. Dave, your thoughts?
And not saying that it's bad. You know what I mean? It's just not my cup of tea.
I guess for me, the two things that really stood out for me in the match wasn't so much Orange Cassidy versus Cody Rhodes. It was when the best friends were taking cheap shots on Cody, and Dustin was standing out there right next to them and didn't retaliate, which I thought, well, that's not very brotherly. And then the other one for me, which was, I think, one of the most entertaining things I watched, if not in the night between both shows, was when Cody was going for the big suplex off the top rope to the outside with like 20 lumberjacks. One lumberjack walked completely away, and that was Billy Gunn, the biggest lumberjack out there. He's like, screw this. I'm not a part of this. And he walked completely out of the shot and then walked back in when everyone fell down. But I mean, again, it was a good match. It's what the fans want. But Al's right. I mean, if Cassidy is supposed to be the underdog that's lazy and sloth-like, for him to be that competitive, who do you cheer for? You're going to cheer for Cody then more than Orange Cassidy because Cody does more cool things and he's been doing it longer.
Well, and then what became to Orange Cassidy? Is he now no longer Orange Cassidy? Is he now, something new? I mean, because you've sold me Orange Cassidy the way he was, but now
he's Orange Julius now.
Oh, well, gosh, and Dairy Queen, God, they knew how to make those things. Dave would know.
Orange Cassidy it's a complicated character to maintain. We've talked about it on this show because he's got the nonchalant.
It is, but again, listen, you're selling. Okay, here's the thing: nobody gets. You're selling a product, and the product is the wrestler. So, okay, it's okay for him now not to be Orange Cassidy, is what you're saying. But let's remember, Steve Austin told us that he was a beer-drinking, ass-kicking redneck, okay, who flipped off his boss. So did he not do that exceptionally well backstage? He was the same guy backstage. He was the same guy on his entrance. He was the same guy when he got into the ring. He was the same guy when he was kicking ass. He was the same guy when he was getting his ass kicked. He was the same guy when he won. He was the same guy when he lost. And he was the same guy heading back up the ramp, going out the building. You always got what you paid to see. At no point in time was there a disconnect. And it is key that the wrestlers understand that and know that, and that they know that once the bell rings, you've got to still be that guy. You can't now suddenly become another guy and, oh, well, that's okay, because people are going to go, well, what happened to the other guy? I don't understand. It's going to limit, but down the road, it's going to limit his success.
That's fair, but here's a question I have for you, Al, is at what point, especially in this year and in this environment, can you treat wrestling when you watch it like you're watching the Jerry Springer show? It doesn't have to make sense. Just entertain me for an hour or two.
Yeah, it does. No, because in order for it to entertain you, it has to follow certain precepts. It's no different than when you tell a story, when you write it in a book or you do it on a movie screen. It's got to follow and live within that world. And if you don't want to follow those rules, and you got to go, oh, well, it's just wrestling, so we can do whatever we want. The audience will still like it. Yeah, there will be some audience that will. You're absolutely correct. But there will not be the general audience.
It's just Jerry Springer. I'm talking entertainment.
It's never been just Jerry Springer.
If I tune into a movie, if I tune into a broadcast,
so you're watching a movie. You're watching a movie. Hold on. So you're watching a movie. So you're telling me that all of the millions of dollars that they spend to produce a movie, which really are to go into ensuring that you as the audience at no point in time ever slip out of that world, that you think it's okay that you're watching a movie and a car whips around a corner in a car chase and it's a perfectly fine automobile. Then it whips around another corner, it's got a dent in the door. Then it whips around another corner and it doesn't have the dent anymore. But that doesn't take you out of the movie at all.
It's fascinating that you mentioned that. Nothing irritates me more in movies than when they hit something. All of a sudden the car's fine in the next scene. Then all of a sudden it's more damage in the next scene. Then it's less damage in the last scene. Yes, that's a problem.
Well, then you just proved my point. You just proved my point, because wrestling's no different.
Let me ask you now. Okay, maybe not. Just, let me ask you, generally speaking, in entertainment. If I were to tune into Jerry Springer, I know that I'm just escaping for that hour because none of those people are real. They're paid to be there. They're actors.
Right.
If I tune, why can it not be different? Why can it not be the same, rather, in this current time for wrestling? Because I need that escape. Maybe I don't want to think about it. Maybe I don't want to understand why Orange Cassidy should or shouldn't be doing what he's doing. Maybe I just want to be in that moment and enjoy that moment for what that moment is.
I absolutely agree. But it's up to the wrestler then to allow you to be able to constantly and continuously do that and get what you were sold. Because when you don't get what you were sold, then you're disappointed and you don't want to watch it anymore.
Al, have you ever
seen? That's what allows you to be entertained.
Have you ever seen the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood?
Yeah. Gin and juice.
No, that's Snoop. Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It was a spoof of all the message movies of the 90s, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure you probably didn't see it. But there was a scene in that movie. Do you remember the fight scene in the
cafe? Hey, I saw I saw Booty Call.
The fight scene in the cafe where they made no effort.
You live Booty Call.
Where they made no effort whatsoever to cover up the fact that was a stuntman in that fight scene.
Right.
Made that movie so
But the movie itself, because the whole movie was a spoof.
Correct.
It's a parody movie. And if you want to make wrestling, if you want to make your wrestling organization, listen, if you want to make your wrestling organization a parody organization, then feel free to do that. Now, if you wanted to but if you want to have it be considered or come across like with wins and losses recorded and things like that, like it's a real competitive situation, you're creating that illusion, then you need to do that. But it's not even about that. It is about if you're the character, if you're a certain character, then you need to maintain that certain character and be able to maintain it from start to finish. It's not it's not about it being Jerry Springer. Even in Jerry Springer, the people that came on there and that were paid, to your point, they had to maintain. I don't think that's asking too much. But the problem is, Damian, too many people like yourself want to go, it's wrestling, it's Jerry Springer. We can make excuses. We don't have to hold the performer to a certain standard. We can just let him slide. It's all right, because I still thought it was fun. But you won't over the long haul.
Your time's up. I want to be clear. And maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe I wasn't clear.
You were clear. You were very clear. You were making an excuse.
When I was asking the question of, can I not just watch?
Ringing the bell. Oh my God.
Can I not just watch and it be entertaining? I didn't mean just wrestling. Can I watch anything and just escape from the shit world that we're in right now? That's all I want. I don't
absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, you could back when Steve Austin was Steve Austin. You could watch Steve Austin when he was Steve Austin. You could escape and you could just watch it and be entertained, because at no point in time did you not get what you paid to see, which was Steve Austin. And that's what he sold you. No ifs, ands, or buts. Undertaker was Undertaker. When he was the American Badass, he was the American Badass from start to finish. That's it. Bottom line. And that's what allows you to just mindlessly watch something and be entertained by it, by the fact that the people that are entertaining you take the time and effort to make it seamless for you so that you always got what you bought. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you can continue to make excuses for them and feel free. It's fine. And they'd be upset about the fact that they disappointed you and they didn't deliver to you what you wanted.
I can play moderator and candidate
yes, sir. Yes.
at the same time. And look, there's nothing greater than a spirited discussion with Al Snow. But here's the difference. Al, you're running a wrestling organization. Dave, you are a wrestling promoter as well. I watch this stuff because I not even because I want to, but because I have to. And because I have to, when I tune in, I'm like, don't make me think. I don't want to think right now. Just take me away.
Right.
Take me away. And
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
The characters need to maintain their particular character, if you will, their trajectory, if you will. But I'm okay with a little bit of deviation right now. I don't think too far into what Orange Cassidy should or should not be doing. Do I notice when he in a match gets serious, if you will, and amps up a little bit and starts to be that nonchalant guy? Yeah, but at the same time, midway through the match, like he did last night on Dynamite, he signals for like a 450 flash or whatever and barely jumps off the ropes. That brings me back in a little bit. So for me,
right, and I agree. I didn't say that he did. I didn't say he did a bad thing. I said that the usage of what they did from back and forth didn't allow us to cheer Orange Cassidy on as the underdog. And then we got into this whole thing where you got all worked up and got your blood boiling and, got triggered. Yeah. And I had to get offended.
Like Jerry Springer for everything.
Boy, this became an attack.
The guy with the hoodie.
And you want to do a show on a Tuesday night? Are you kidding me?
While Media was talking and the guy with the hoodie, my dog chewed through a $75 HDMI cable. So she's a freaking cunt. Oh my God. And $30 worth of new toys from Amazon arrived today that she's been playing with. But be that as it may,
just get some dog Benadryl.
Hey, now careful. You could get some dog Benadryl. Yeah, that'll put her right to sleep. That's what we do with children anyways. I did it with my kids.
We can't stay on the rail.
And when they get older, listen, when they get older, you just go to the vet, you get yourself one of those tranquilized guns, and they're out in the yard playing. As long as it's a fenced-in yard, you just shoot them in the butt, and off you go. You can do shopping. You can get your groceries, come back. They got a little sun, some grass on their face. They're fine. So,
The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank once again. Good idea, bad idea, Dave?
He is.
I think it's a great idea. He brings a different charisma to everything and believability. If you've noticed, the three guys we've talked about so far, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and The Miz, are all products of OVW.
I noticed how you excluded Orange Cassidy there, who I imagine passed through OVW at some point.
No, he didn't.
No, I don't think he did.
Never wrestled there? That's surprising, actually.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
He did.
I haven't heard of that, no.
He did.
Okay. All right. Well, apparently you did, Dave. I own the company. Yeah. I would, you'd think I would know, but Damian knows better. So, and I think that's what this show should be called from now on. Is not Primetime Wrestling. Just Damian knows better. Just
I'm sure it's on Damien's laptop.
Al, it's amazing. It's a good thing you have.
Hey, before we get off the air, I want to point out that OVW we're having another combine November 7th, and we're giving away scholarships to the trade school again. So if anybody wants to, they can go to ovwrestling.com or aswa.live, and they can sign up for the OVW combine and possibly get themselves a 2-year scholarship to the trade school.
The only accredited wrestling school in the world, I believe, right, Al?
Yes, the only actually accredited trade school in the world, and they will receive a scholarship for 2 years to that trade school if they go through the combine. It's no different than an NFL combine. They'll be tested. Then the requirements and the tests that they'll face are listed up there on the aswa.live website, and they can sign up and they can participate and hopefully potentially be a part of the ASWA, the actually only state accredited trade school for professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and broadcasting in the world.
Now, Al, I do want to ask you, as you're laid up there and with your double knee replacement, which again just takes a man to go through that at once, but it also takes a man to appreciate the presentation he needs to give to his significant other. Have you been manscaping even in your downtime here?
Well, I haven't been mowing the lawn.
Let me back up. So, Al,
yes.
Where is that camera moving? Don't show us. So,
hold on. For Halloween, it's no accident. For Halloween, we're gonna go as some kind of 70s outfit. So I'm trying to get in the whole thing. I want to be as retro as possible.
Hey, wait,
right now, it's been so long it looks like a button on a fur coat, or it looks like a worm burrowing out of a buzzard's nest with 2 robin's eggs.
So you do need to visit our partner, Manscaped. Manscaped.com. You can get the Lawnmower 3.0.
Boy, do I ever.
Get it all out and let it all be shown. Manscaped.com. David Harrell, please tell Al how he can fix his southern bushy region.
All you got to do is go to manscaped.com, Al, and use promo code PWR. You get to save 20% and you get free shipping. Not only does it the lawnmower, it's the fingernail clipper, it's the nose hair trimmer.
Hey, wait a minute. Do they have the lawnmower? Do they have, looking down here right now, do they have a bush hog? Just curious.
They have a weed whacker, so I think you should be fine. Yes.
Thank God.
But be careful.
My weed needs to be whacked. That's for sure. It's been, these knee things killing me.
Well, as we get older, more body hair just pops up. So Manscaped is the perfect thing for.
Don't tell me. I got bushels growing out of my nose. My eyebrows are now going straight out. And you cut them, they sound like you're clicking wires. I have hair on my ears. I look like Lon Chaney Jr. going through the change into the Wolfman. Hey, the crack of my ass looks like the inside of a wolf's sock. If anybody needs to be manscaped, I do. It's ridiculous. And biologically, why do you need that hair there? I've spent my whole life without it. Not a hair on the cheek of either cheek, but inside, like a mitten, like you could just put your hand up there and keep it warm.
3.0 is the answer to all of your problems. They have everything you need.
I hope so.
Manscaped.com, promo code PWR right now. Get all you need from there. And also, Al Snow, the only problem living up here in the Northeast now is I don't have the opportunity to go to the place that your shirt pays homage to, and that is the tremendous Waffle House. But Collar and Elbow has put a spin on that particular look.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to see the spin that we put on many different looks, they can go to collarandelbowbrand.com and they can check them all out right there.
Absolutely. And also a promo code, Dave.
Dave?
Who are you
Yes.
wearing?
Go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code PWR360. Save 10%. Jackets, sweatpants, hats, you name it, hoodies. The brand new fall line is out.
We
The
just got
winter
the
line's on its way.
jackets. Yeah, the jackets look cool. The jackets
do
look cool.
very cool.
I haven't gotten any,
Yes.
but they look cool.
What do you mean you haven't
It
gotten
doesn't matter
any?
though. I'm growing enough body hair in enough places. Hey, listen, I'm growing enough body hair in enough places. I'll stay warm all winter long. So,
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm on a blood thinner, guys. I can't shave right now. So,
we'd like to say thank you, all of you, for joining us on Fight TV and across our social media channels, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter via Periscope, and we're back on Twitch actually. And if you don't use the Manscaped 3.0, the Lawnmower 3.0, Al, you may be twitching while you try to take care of your issues down there, and we don't want that to happen. So manscaped.com, promo code PWR.
Yeah. Especially if he's on blood thinner. I would hold off on that for a little bit.
got to be careful.
Thank you so much for joining, Al. We always appreciate your insight into this program. We will. No, I meant that sincerely. We will decide again. It's against my better judgment. We will decide if. Well, no. Here's the thing: we can't do live election night coverage because Al, you have OVW Tuesday night.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, guys.
Perfect.
I'm sorry
Thank you.
because I would
You
love
have-
to have done that.
No, you have saved us. I can't be a part of it.
Hold on, Damien. To be fair, we won't know who wins anyhow on Tuesday night.
Oh, here we go. And Al, by that statement, do you know who he now supports? Al's gone. He signed off.
No, I don't. I'm back.
I told you. I voted for Ross Perot.
I'm back.
I'm good. I'm set.
Yeah.
I'm going with the billionaire.
The facts show that
He did have some major changes for the country.
Hey, can you imagine if Ross Perot had to wear a mask now? His years would be even further out.
Well, we do want to make important to all of you, no matter where you are, no matter what the polls say, no matter what color your state is that you should take advantage of the opportunity to get out now and vote. And don't wait till Election Day unless you have to. But there's a lot of opportunities with mail-in voting. Some polling stations are open now. Voting stations, rather, are open now. It is your civic duty, responsibility to vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for, neither of these two, but you do have to go out and vote. A lot of people have sat home many times and then complained about the results. Don't do that this time. Get out and vote. It's very easy. If your company doesn't allow you off that day to go vote, if you can't find the time, call in. Screw them, because they should be giving you the opportunity to do so. In fact, it should be a federal holiday and should be on a Saturday.
Ooh.
Be that as it may, go vote. Do what you need to do. Vote for whoever you choose to vote for, but please do it for one of the candidates that is on the ticket. And I want to be clear, Ross Perot is not running this cycle. So
what?
Go ahead and vote. I know
Hey,
you
you
have
know why? You know why we have?
you got
Do you know why we have weekends? Why we have Saturdays and Sundays? Is because the great capitalist Henry Ford gave his workers the weekends off because he hoped that by having more leisure time, that would drive more auto sales. That's the reason we have weekends now.
Al, have you watched the? Have you watched the? To that point, have you watched the History Channel broadcast, "The Men Who Built America"?
Oh, I have. That's fantastic.
No, I haven't.
TV.
Not yet. No.
Dave, you watched it? Really?
Of course, yeah.
Is it
How
right?
about the cars that built America and the food that built America?
I got the food. I haven't seen the cars yet.
So you got to watch the cars. No, Henry Ford was an evil man. In school they taught us how great he was. He was an evil man. So was whatever Hershey, the Hershey guy with the chocolates. They literally murdered people.
Not really. I mean,
they were horrible human
They
beings.
literally
they
murdered
were.
people because it was okay to do so at the time.
Yeah, they were.
Henry
Well,
Ford.
how do you think
If you
the
think you got it
chocolate
bad
got so
now,
sweet?
go back then.
Yeah, Al, that's the best point made all year, actually. Because you know what I once said to a colleague
You
of
think
mine?
it's bad now?
I said to a colleague of mine, obviously she was female. I said, it seems like things were better in the 60s. And she looked at me and she goes, "Not for you and not for me." Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, folks, we have had some fun tonight. Al, is always great digging deep with you and providing you with Manscaped. Well, we might get you a free unit sent so you can take care of your things while you're laid up there. But
Thank
always
you.
great
Appreciate
dialogue,
that.
always great
I appreciate that.
insight into the inner workings of the wrestling business. Best of luck and continued success with OVW. And thank you very much for stepping in, sitting in, and joining us here live tonight on Fight TV. We always appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys both very much, and I always enjoy being on the
Dave.
show. And hopefully here soon we'll be able to do an election night. Maybe we could do the post-election night the following night and do it live. Do the results. That would be awesome. We could go state to state and analyze why they did what they did and why it worked and why it didn't work and who got over and who didn't and who turned heel and who's a baby face. I mean, that would be amazing. And maybe one of the candidates could get a little color on stage. Maybe they get a little sympathy and they get the sympathy vote.
To be fair, Trump always has color on stage.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Dave, thank you for joining us. We'll be back with you again next week right here on Fight TV. In the meantime, in the in-between time, be sure to follow us all on social media individually, and of course the brand at PWR360, collarandelbowbrand.com, Manscaped as well, and our tremendous partners on Fight TV. For David Hero and Al Snow, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to all of you who commented along. I never gave the shout out, so let me do that right now before we go. Watching us socially on Facebook, George White, on Twitter, Martin Duffin, on YouTube, Gabe606, also on Facebook, Billy Flores, and so many, many more joining us here socially as well. Andrew Bedala, your dear friend David Hero, joined us on Facebook as well, and also Mick Thomason on YouTube and Billy Flores on Facebook. Again, couldn't name all names, but we appreciate those of you who join us live. With that, I have dragged out this conclusion a long time, and now it's time to really button up and close up the show.
Man, you have.
Thanks, Al. Thanks, Dave. We'll see all of you next week, and by that time, please be able to come on board and tell us that you voted for somebody. Good. So long, everybody.